welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I just wanted to do a video on whether or not Captain Jack should return to Doctor Who. I'm very much 50-50 about this, you know, split in the middle, as it were, about this, because my opinion of the character is that I really like Captain Jack's character. Well, this probably will piss off a lot of the die-hard classic Doctor Who fans, so sorry about that. But honestly, I think for myself and my generation of fans who grew up with the new series, he is very much like the Brigadier, you know, of the new series. You know, he's that sort of mixture of sort of stern, sort of core, old-fashioned sort of shoot first, ask questions later, but also quite sort of cheeky and tongue-in-cheek and that. Like, he's this sort of, he's like a swashbuckling pirate type character, and that, and I am torn to whether or not he works actually in the confines of Doctor Who, really. I mean, as a character, he seems to be able to spread his wings, definitely more so in Torchwood, but even so, he was, you could argue, there's a case to be argued that he was sort of initially conceived and or creatively sort of first made and planted, the seed was planted originally in Doctor Who first, over obviously Torchwood. So there is a case there to argue that he first appeared in Doctor Who, so he is technically a Doctor Who character first and foremost. And yeah, I think he is just a very interesting character who is very just interesting. There's a lot of different story beats and things you could do with the character, and that I think, you know, that would be interesting, you know. Like, I think the only thing is, though, the writers have very much cornered themselves in the whole he's immortal, because as EMS Productions, I think it is, pointed out, sorry, I don't know the actual person's name of the channel, but is it Elliot? Anyway, but yeah, EMS Productions and his mate did a video of characters they don't want to see in Series 12, which I watched, and it was really interesting because basically they both said they don't want to see Captain Jack back, and they made the valid point because obviously the character is immortal. That means that the character is supposed to visually look the exact same as they did when we last saw him, which off the top of my head I can't remember the last time we saw him. I assume it was end of David Tennant's era, so End of Time Part 2. In Doctor Who anyway, like it's a proper full-on sort of scene of sorts, not just references or whatever. But yeah, John Barrowman is aging, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. And, you know, that's kind of problematic when you say the character's an immortal person, but is still always played by the same actor as well. It's not like he can just regenerate, but yeah. I've always been fascinated by the whole time agency thing and that as well, and I'm curious as to whether or not Russell T Davies got that from Talons of Weng-Chiang by any chance, because I'm sure Magnus Greel mentions something about thinking the Doctor is a time agent, so, you know. Torchwood as well is very interesting, and we already know, as an organisation, we already know that UNIT isn't really a thing anymore because the whole Brexit thing, which, you know, a commenter on a previous video was rather vocal about the fact that they thought that the joke was stupid, which is fine. I mean, it is a bit silly, yeah, and that the joke wasn't really particularly funny or needed. But, you know, hopefully that doesn't disregard the fact that UNIT could still come back. I don't know. I mean, it's more stupid a joke if it is damning and or blocking the return of a fan favourite sort of organisation within the Doctor Who universe. But as I say, in sort of a counterpoint to that is that, okay, Unit's gone. That was more of a classic Who sort of thing, and that, and you know, maybe we're not going to reference Nicholas Courtney and the Brigadier anymore. Maybe we're not going to have Unit, but in turn, we're going to have, you know, this time in series 12 or 13 or whatever series, in a future series, we're going to have John Barrowman back. We're going to have Captain Jack back and Torchwood, and you know, and that. And I think that would be really interesting, considering we've got a female Doctor. I think it's really interesting because you could play it in such a way that maybe in my head I have this idea of maybe Captain Jack. I could just imagine like on a sort of time agent mission, almost play it out like a 007 sort of episode at the beginning, like, I don't know, for lack of a better term, Casino Royale, is it? I don't know, I don't really like James Bond films, but basically have it where the Doctor's in a tuxedo and they're all, you know, on a maybe alien planet, I don't know, or Earth, I don't know, it could be either. But basically he's hitting on the Doctor, and then they go to like the room or whatever, and then the Doctor is just like, you do realise I'm the Doctor, sort of thing, before anything gets any further, as it were. And I personally think that would be really funny, but then knowing Jack, he'd still try and probably hit it off with the Doctor, and that, to which Jodie's Doctor could probably get a good slap in the to slap him in the face, sort of thing, which I think would be funny. But I think, yeah, I think he could be a really good sort of, for lack of a better term, sort of core male, I don't like using the term, but masculine type thing, like character, you know, and the whole sort of thing about, you know, the Doctor never liking violence, and that could be brought up maybe. I know people are very divisive about that, and I know I've said time and time again that I've always wanted to do this video on my thoughts on Doctor Who and violence. I mean, I think in the context, I was thinking about this earlier once, or a while ago. I think in the context of the show, I think the reason why the Doctor as a character doesn't like violence a lot more, sort of in the context of the show, sort of or after the classic series even, is because it's after the Time War, so that kind of makes sense in my head. I mean, I do agree with the point though that if the chips are down, he should really sort of use, or she should use, violence, I think, if there's absolutely no other sort of option. But if there is, I think then the Doctor would obviously try and not use violence. But yeah, I also have this like really cool image in my head of like, you could do like a promo shot of like John Barrowman with like the revolver, and then like the Doctor on the other side, but with the sonic screwdriver and that, but both in that sort of in those long coats that they both wear, of like the sort of dark grey and the really lighter sort of grey coloured jacket that 13 has. And again, I think it'd just be really cool, because I think it'd get quite a few people who, for lack of a better term, and I hate using this term, but nostalgic, and have nostalgia for the David Tennant years and that, because to be fair, it wouldn't surprise me if they did ever bring him back, seeing as it is Chibnall's creation, Captain Jack is, as well as, well, no, it's not his creation, sorry, I'm mistaken, it's Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat's creation, but Chris Chibnall wrote quite a few Torchwood episodes. He's credited as, I think, the head writer of the second series, and then he's, you know, wrote a few episodes in series 1 and then quite a few more in series 2, so he understands the character, so it would make more than enough sense for him personally to bring the character back. But another counterpoint EMS Productions made, which is valid, is that, you know, so much time has passed. The whole Moffat tenure, which lasted, if I'm not mistaken, like 7 years, 2010 to 2017, 7 years has passed, you know, nearly a decade, if I'm not mistaken, you know, has passed since we last saw the character in the TV show. So you know, would people be interested? Would people who have left Doctor Who since David Tennant's era actually be hooked by and the idea of Captain Jack being back? Would it be too little too late, basically? I don't know. I mean, you'd only know that if they did bring him back and whether or not it would work or not. But, I mean, if you don't take that risk, then you're never going to know. And, you know, he is a more newer, recent character as well. You know, so it's not just... It's not like fatigue, like mentioning and bringing up, you know... again, as much as I do adore Nicholas Courtney and the Brigadier, you know, it's not doing that again, it's not bringing up that or whatever, which is always great, but, you know, after so many series and episodes with Moffat, you know, sometimes bringing those things from the classic series would be a detriment to the series almost. And although you could argue that that could be the same thing with new series stuff, but it's not really already been done yet, because the new series hasn't really... obviously, the tenure of the new series is nowhere near as long and as drawn out as the classic series. So it could be interesting, because it'd be something that the new series hasn't ever done, really. Reference more its own past, as limited as it is, even though there were, as I say, quite a few references to David Tennant, if not Matt Smith, episodes in Series 11, which I thought was interesting. And that, but no real sort of proper uber classic Who stuff, which was, again, very interesting to me anyway, as a person who hyper-focuses on these things. But yeah, I think I would like to see Captain Jack back, but I would also maybe like to just see Torchwood back, or maybe a reference to him, or something, you know, or a cameo, or... But overall, yeah, I would like to see him maybe back, but whether or not I think that's possible, or if it's likely, is another thing, or... I don't know, again, I am 50-50, I mean... Part of me does feel like maybe too much time has passed and it is too little too late. But yeah, I mean, please do comment below what you think. Should Captain Jack return to Doctor Who? I mean, I do like the character, but again, you haven't seen him. The 2 incarnations have passed since the last time we saw him. So yeah, is that too long a gap for most people and that? But he always seems to come back. He always seems to come back in everyone's, you know, sort of what I would like to see in the next series. It's always Captain Jack, it's always Susan, it's always Ace. I'd say they're the 3 big common sort of characters that are always wanted back from people's lists in the Doctor Who community. I mean, that seems to be a common thing amongst a lot of fans, which is interesting, to say the least. So yeah, thanks for watching, comment, rate and subscribe.